Hey, it's Thursday. We want knowledge. That means one thing, Thursday for knowledge. This week I spoke to Lee Cuddis about the value in earthing, and in fact the necessity in earthing. And earthing means when we take a moment to just be out in nature, ideally barefoot, just to connect ourselves with nature, with ourselves. Not something I'm into, as you can see. I'm in a skate park. It was new to me, but really interesting. And I have tried it, and I've got to say I feel more connected. So why don't you give it a try? At least have a listen. All right, take care. Bye. To me, a lush carpet of pine needles or spongy grass is more welcome than the most luxurious Persian rug. Helen Keller. Firstly, just let me thank you for coming onto the show. One of the reasons that I invited you on is I'm just going to kind of loosely go into this because it's quite abstract for myself, really, actually. I find myself very interested in the moment at how all people and men, I think maybe especially, have come to a stage of separation from nature. And I mean, even in, not just in terms of like living very urban lives, but that actually we no longer see ourselves as animals, really, in a way. There's almost like there's plants, you know, there's the earth, there's plants, there's animals, and there's humans. And we're not part of animals, you know, which would be really the sensible thing that we are. We're just another primate, a different primate, really. So I'm very interested in, one, the sort of damage that the separation from nature does to us as men, and in a real sense, like just not being amongst nature, and in here of not thinking of ourselves as part of a rhythm of nature that we are, and also ways that we can sort of combat that and the benefits of that. So that's largely why I invited you on. So I mean, you seem to have dedicated your life to it. So I'm assuming that you're with me in that it's beneficial for us to reconnect with nature on both those levels.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it to me, it started when I started reading up about it at first. You know, as children, we are born how we're meant to be. We're born barefoot. We're born connected to things, you know, and I'm not sure how long it is. It's probably somewhere up to 2-3 years. We don't see ourselves separate to our mother. We're this combined entity. And then, you know, the ego starts to kick in and we start saying everything's mine and me, but our feet, we don't have any bones in our feet when we're children, and we learn to crawl, we learn to walk. And the minute we, as adults, as parents, we want to put shoes on our children, and it's not a natural thing, and our feet don't develop. So we're immediately disconnecting humans from nature the minute we put a shoe on. And I think it started in the 1940s or 50s when Nike invented the rubber sole. They basically disconnect us from the free electrons in the earth and the ground, and the electrons give us this huge healing potential. And, you know, we go to work in cars with rubber wheels. We used to sleep on bear skins and skins in caves, and we were connected by moisture to the earth, and we were earthing ourselves, and we were connected in the magnetic field. But the minute we came up with rubber soles, rubber cars, you know, we would actually separate ourselves from beds. We now live in sky rises. You know, there's nothing that connects us to nature, and the more we separate ourselves from that, the more we're just not connected. So how can you be connected as a male? How can you be connected as a human if you've disconnected yourself from from nature. You know, we've got alarm clocks that wake us up. Everything is designed to disconnect us. And the minute I kind of found that out, there's a very good film on YouTube called The Earthing Movie. You can find it on YouTube. And there's a guy called Clint Ober, who I think's up for a Nobel Peace Prize. And he wasn't a doctor. I think he was an electrical engineer, and he was having a nervous breakdown, and he decided that he wanted to go traveling around America. So he gave everything to his kids, the money, the fortune that he'd made, and went traveling. And then one day he was literally watching people go by in a cafe, and he was looking at everybody's rubber soles, and he put two and two together and came up with the fact that, yes, we've disconnected ourselves. He wasn't a scientist, so he's had a long slog in actually proving that earthing is a human way of healing. And the minute we touch the ground barefoot, we've got more senses in our feet than we do with our hands, but we're completely disconnected from that senses.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like someone once rephrased the term common sense to me as uncommon wisdom. As actually, because it's not that common, because most of us don't listen to it, you know. It's uncommon wisdom, actually. And it's you know, it such is our obsession with experts, really. And you know, and I'm not saying that we don't listen to experts. They've studied stuff, they know stuff. That's right. But sometimes you just need common sense, don't you? Like, sometimes I don't need proof. I don't need scientific proof when someone says, we lived on this earth, connected to the earth for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, and now we've built all these artificial things around us, and that could not be good for us. You know, I don't need a scientist to go. It's the wrong way round for someone to have to say to someone like that, can you prove how it's bad? It's the other way around. It should be, if you want us to separate from what's natural and normal to us, you should be trying to prove it's good to us, not the other way around, that it's beneficial to their rubbish.
It's insane.
Yeah, it's completely like a sort of weird emperor's new clothes thing. I tell you what it made me think of as well. I was reading this other thing about not just the need to be barefoot, but about crouching. So, you know, like actually kind of balancing, just sitting down when you sit on
squatting,
and saying that the benefit of squatting is not only, as opposed to sitting, is not only because it's better for your organs, because they're not slumping down, and it's better for your back, and you know, it is that actually there's something about the humbleness of lowering ourselves, and one of the issues that, I can't remember where I read it, one of the issues that they think in the West is part of that ingrained superiority comes from the fact that we sit, like we kind of sit on thrones, we don't crouch to the earth. And I think that's kind of where I go when I think about, you know, the argument that actually we should spend more time barefooted and in nature and connected to the earth than we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you just have to look at the tribes all over the world. I mean, they don't have, you know, they don't have cancer, they don't have spinal issues. They literally, they're so healthy. They've got everything they need. And, you know, we're the civilized ones, but, you know, disease is not prevalent in their society. They're all muscular. They're all really, really fit. You know, we have to literally physically go out. We've lost that, go out to the gyms or wherever it is to exercise. But connecting with the earth, I don't know how to explain. It gives you the most amazing feeling. First, you've got to acknowledge it. You know, as a man, how can you connect with yourself if you're not connected with that true nature, with how we should be as a race, as a people? And, you know, we'd all connect together and we'd be around people and be in these tribes and feed off each other and learn off each other. And And we've just got this kind of egotistical thing going on at the moment, and hierarchy, and there's no hierarchy in these tribes, but actually earthing, physically walking barefoot. It doesn't have to be your feet, it can be your hands, it can be your body. You can be naked in mud, and the benefits of that calmness and that serenity and that peace that you get by just touching the earth in whatever form you want to do is so paramount to people's well-being. If people to do it 10 minutes a day, the stress would go, anxiety would go. And the minute we connect with those electrons in the ground, inflammation, they've tried to measure it. When you connect to the ground and inflammation in the body goes, they can't actually record it because it's too quick. But inflammation is the precursor to all disease. And the more you earth, the happier you become. And the more you're in nature and see open spaces. And, we are natural beings. We are, as you said, we are animals. And to have that egotistical mindset that we're not is mentally separates us immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
So I don't know if you've read the book, Equality Beyond Humanity. You read that book?
No.
It's really interesting what this author is saying, and it's another one of those things where as soon as I read it, it's almost like I have kind of like, oh, of course, that makes no sense. And they're saying in it that our treatment of other primates, so they're looking at kind of like gorillas and chimpanzees and these things that are like 1% of DNA different from us. We're clearly, I believe anyway, I'm sure there's people who don't, but I believe we're just another species of primate. That's what we are. We're the storytelling monkey, really.
Yeah.
And saying like, what gives us the right to think that we have the right to be able to destroy the habitat of our closest relatives? Where's the equality for them? Like where's the equality? Where's the interspecies equality? How can we treat something like that? That is that related to us, it's that close to us, and it can only be because we don't see ourselves as animals, as far as I can see. It can only be that we don't see ourselves as nature. It's kind of like the world's our plaything, and every resource in it belongs to us. Where really, on a existential level, you've got to believe, well, surely that animal over there has exactly the right amount, right to whatever the earth produces as I do. And that's one of the things that I really like about what you're saying about earthing, is that it gives a sort of practical way that you can get more connected with that sense of yourself as part of rather than other than, part of nature rather than as well as nature.
That's what it's done for me, without a shadow of a doubt. 6 years ago, I was eating meat, steak every night, and then over that process of time and learning, I've become pescatarian, vegetarian, and now vegan. And it was just, I had to do it. The more I was connecting with myself, the more I was connecting and not eating animals, the more you just look in an eyes of a chimp, you just see that it's a reflection of you. You were looking at you. And to kind of destroy that habitat is terrible. Absolutely. We are destroying ourselves if we think in an egotistical way that we are not an animal, that we are not connected. You just have to look at the masculinity of a ridgeback gorilla, standing there and look them in the eye. And it's man to man. Yeah. It's phenomenal. I live on a farm here, and I found it hard when I first got here because I was still eating meat. And, I've got a pig that I've literally wallow around called Winkle, and I never connected with him. But the more I kind of started opening myself up and looking into these animals' eyes, I'm lying in the mud with Winkle wallowing with her, and that connection, you can feel the heartbeat and literally the love that you get from from a pig because they're more intelligent than dogs. You know, and ponies. I went on a therapy, an equine therapy, and that was the most amazing experience in my life. I was literally in a paddock on my own with a horse, and there's me thinking egotistically, right, this horse is going to come up to me, it's going to hug me, and we're going to be, and all this kind of stuff. But it just didn't happen. Egotistically, I thought, yes, this is what's going to happen. It's going to love me, but it just turned its back on me. And they're really a mirror of you and all animals. And it was only when I kind of acknowledged that I was the same as this horse, or we were, you know, I was, my energy was standoffish, and he was just reflecting my energy. And after it was amazing because he, when I kind of released that negative energy, and I was almost in tears actually after 2 hours, he kind of, he basically defecated in there. And that to me was like a link of me releasing negative energy. And then as he was going out, he was being taken out, he stopped and he turned around and he walked up to me and he hugged me with his neck. And just that flip side of getting rid of that egotistical belief system that I had makes you more connected. And you know, it's now every animal, it's anything now. My cat got a duck the other day and I was gutted. You know, I was running after the cat trying to free it. And you really do learn about nature through animals and through yourself.
And so what do you think? I mean, we're touching on it there though, but like in one way we're sort of looking at like the benefit of getting of earthing and kind of taking that time, and later on we'll talk about some specifics of how people can do that. But like, so we talked about what the benefits are. What's the damage? What's the damage of not? What's the damage of how we're living? How, you know, 90% of us who are watching this will be, I know like we have a particular group of people who are very connected to the sort of stuff that we do, that are probably in a yurt and living lives that are not like that, but there's quite a lot of us who are living the sort of concrete urban, especially me. I mean, I grew up in London. I'm an urban boy, you know, that's it. So, you know, I've never been barefoot and all that kind of stuff, apart from on the beach on holiday. What's the damage it's doing to me?
Oh Christ, that's a biggie. I think the world is showing us at the moment what damage it's doing, what damage we're doing to it, because we're one entity, we're one organism. And I think that what's happening at the moment is the culmination of what man has been doing to the planet and brothers and sisters, and it's just had enough. That's the way I feel it. And I would never have spoken like this 5-6 years ago. But I think, you know, we're just damaging ourselves. Everything. It's just we're trying to get out into space and go onto other planets, but we've got to sort our own shit out first, you know, before we explore it. And I think that on a personal level, your health it's your health. You know, you lower your immune system. The minute you earth or you're connected, you're bolstering your immune system. And it's crazy. It's something so simple, something so energizing to you and health-wise. But I think man is really reaping what he's been sowing. And that's without going too much depth. That's my personal perspective on it. You know, my wife and I, we're getting into a lot of shamanism and being with the earth and being with animals and you know, showing respect for everything has a spirit, you know, and you know, we've got to the point now where we're going to make elderflower cordial. So if we ask permission to take it from a tree and then make the cordial and then give the cordial back to the tree, you know, it's just respect, and it's respect for yourself. And the more people wake up to these sort of these things that you can do to help and be part of that living organism, then the better, I say.
Yeah, and I mean, I love what you're saying because, right, there's a bit of me that like, I'm city boy, skate punk, bosh, right? Like it was like for many, many years, I was exactly the same. Like hippies, like, let's not have any of that. And I often find myself in conversations now or situations where I'm like, how did I get here? I didn't have this. I didn't have this in mind. um, but like, but what I'm learning is that even this stuff that someone might be listening to now and saying, what's he talking about? He takes elderberries and then he gives some back. What, to pay respect to nature. What's all that about? It seems, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, it seems crazy to some people. Like, that could sound crazy to some people, but you don't have to look that far back to go, that's what we always did. We lived like that. It was a natural part of how we lived. We have, I mean, even in Christian Western culture, we have Harvest Festival, which is a thank you for what we've harvested, and we're going to lay some down at this altar to say thank you.
Like, you're giving it back.
You're giving it back. It's a completely natural thing. And one of the things that where my thought pattern is taking me to a lot recently is what is that uncommon wisdom that we've forgotten? Like, what is it that we knew that kept us living and thriving for thousands and thousands of years, that over the last 500, say, we've gone, we don't need any of that. We don't want any of that. That don't serve us anymore. What else have we forgot? What obvious things are we not doing?
I think, and it will bring us back to men's work, I think, is initiation. I think it's handing down knowledge from father to son to and become a man, to become a man and hand that knowledge down and keep that tradition going. And I think that is what has stopped this. That is what has ground this to a halt, is being in these groups of people, not being selfish, not being egotistical, and working as a group. And I think it's guidance, isn't it? It's guidance from ancestors. It's guidance from elders, and I think that's where we've lost it.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about initiation. What I want to do first, I just want to reset the room a little bit. So anyone who is watching this live within the Magnificent Man Project Facebook group, which is on Facebook. So if you're not watching it live, join the group and then you will be able to watch these things live. So if you are watching it live though, please, you can put a comment, any question you have in the comments, and we will try and deal with as many questions as we have afterwards. Thanks. So yeah, initiation and men's work. I mean, we met each other, like a lot of people on this thing, through the Mankind Project, and I think one of the things that's central, certainly what I've taken from the Mankind Project, is not just a reconnection with a bigger sense of community, and a connection to myself, but also the really powerful thing for me was a reconnection with responsibility. For me, one of the big moments I got from the Mankind Project was kind of, this is no longer just about you, boy. This is how you're going to show up as a man, because this is a responsibility you have bigger than you. There's children that are going to come afterwards that are going to be reaping either the benefit, or repaying the debt that of the life that I've lived. And if I don't sort it out now, it will be my son that sorts it out. And if he don't, it'll be his son that has to, and that's how we met, wasn't it? Through the Mankind Project. And do you see a sort of, I guess what I'm asking is, do you share a view that men's work in general is about reconnecting us to ourselves and nature? Do you think is that where the secret lies in where we want to go as humans?
Definitely. I mean, obviously we have to amalgamate society that we've got at the moment and our modern lives. But I do feel truly deeply that we need to bring that back to nature. We need to be with other men, like-minded men, and be in groups, because that's how we learn. That's how we should be, and that gets rid of the ego. It gets rid of being competitive. There's nothing worse than, I think, of having men that are competitive and that laddish behavior, and it's all down to not being initiated or having guidance from other men. It just seems crazy that it doesn't happen. But through the Mankind Project, I don't think there's a day. I mean, I was initiated when, I think, over a year and a half ago now. I don't think there's a day that's gone by that I've not thought about it. And for me, that's extraordinary. I mean, the impact men's work has is phenomenal. And I see it in my son. It's like, I mean, even today, he wanted to do a science experiment with Mentos and Coca-Cola. And it didn't work. We didn't get the Mentos. We got another mint, and it didn't work. And he said, "Okay, we can't waste this Coke. Let me give it back to Mother Earth." And it was, he's only 7, and I think just changing ourselves helps our fathers heal, helps our grandfathers heal for what they went through, and we stop whatever going down, traumatically wise with us. We don't give it to our kids, and we break that circle. So I think it's paramount that we do this kind of work.
So talking about doing the work, let's get a little bit practical with it all. I mean, I might be your perfect client, right? Because I grew up in London, right? I live in London. I pretty much have, I enjoy buying stupidly expensive trainers, but I was once a little bit woo, a little bit wee, and now I'm a little bit more woo woo. So I'm open.
Okay.
So what do I do?
Well, I've developed a therapy called the Halo method, and basically it's mixing earthing and mindfulness and a lost art called walking meditation. And we always go, when we're rushing around from A to B, we're always stressed. We're always rushing around. We're always looking at where we want to go. Even in life, we're wanting a better house, a better car, better TV, better trainers. So it's the Halo method is designed. We walk around in circles, which is barefoot with circles, and we have our gaze slightly down 1.5 meters as we're walking in circles. And what this does, it disconnects us from the horizon. So we're not thinking about where we're going, where our destination is, and we're going around in circles. And as we're looking down, what it also does, it gets rid of it pushes the consciousness out to the side and allows the subconscious to come out. And it puts us in a bit of a trance-like state. So any kind of shadow work that we're working on, if we want to connect with ourselves and know what we're feeling when we don't, it brings that up, and we can acknowledge that and address it. And it's a very good way of getting to know what's going on, rather than just sitting down cross-legged in a room meditating. So it's another form of meditating, but it's a therapy.
Okay. Well, we're going to make sure that all the links and stuff are put in here afterwards. Actually, Tony's done it already. So the link's already in there. So people can find out more about the Halo method and what you do specifically. But for anyone who's just listening now, maybe interested, what's a few things they could do, say like today or tomorrow, that kind of help this process of earthing?
Take your shoes off. Take your shoes off. Get your barefoot into the ground. You can earth on grass, mud, concrete. You can't earth on tarmac or wood, believe it or not, because it doesn't conduct electricity. But just go out. It takes 10 minutes for your brain pattern to change in any shape or in any meditative state. So just go out and walk, see how you feel barefoot, even if it's not. You don't have to go around in circles. Just walk barefoot when you're walking the dog out, anywhere, any chance you get. And just the benefits are huge. You'll notice the difference. It seems really simple, but this is how we're meant to be. And the minute you connect with that, you're starting to connect with yourself.
I might have to see if I can get some little Adidas transfers for me feet. Because
so there are guys, there are guys I've seen out there when on earthing websites that they've got trainers, and because they don't want to be seen to be wearing be barefoot the whole time, they cut the sole off the bottom, so it looks like they're wearing trainers, but they're earthing at the same time.
Oh God, that is funny. Because I was just thinking, yeah, some little Adidas transfers just so I can keep it a little bit street while I'm being barefoot. But yeah, I mean, it is a really, really fascinating subject, is it? Because it is such a simple thing. You know, the idea of just being barefoot is such a simple idea, but often these things are, you know, like meditation is a very simple idea. And, you know, just sit down, try not to think for a while, just give yourself a little bit of space, you know. And these simple things are really easy to overlook. Sometimes I find it really easy to overlook because they're simple. In a way, it's almost like I'm looking for something more complicated. Like, surely that can't just be, all I've got to do is do that. So so tell people about how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is put in my name, Lee Cuddis, and walk with me, and it will basically come up with it. And I'm predominantly love Instagram, predominantly on Instagram, do a lot of work there. So yeah, just Lee Cuddis, walk with me, and you'll find me. There's no one quite like that, so I'm sure you'll be able to find it.
Fantastic. All right. So we're going to finish up now. I think there's enough there for everyone to be getting on with, and I really encourage anyone who is watching this, wherever you're watching this, give it a try. Give it a try. The worst that can happen is you go, do you know what? That was a load of rubbish. It didn't work for me. Give it a try and see how it works. Like with all of these things, let's try and get past. Let me try and get past my mental models of how things have to be, and be willing to give things a try. And see what works. And if it works for you, keep doing it. And if it don't, stop doing it. So how I finish, Lee, is I always finish with 3 questions. Okay. And so I just want you to answer those for me, if you will. So
no worries.
What's the one question that I didn't ask you that you would have liked me to ask?
Oh, I don't think there is anything, actually. I think I've covered most. I think you've a very good host, and no, I can't think of anything at all.
My keen journalistic mind is
that's it.
Fantastic. So the other one is, what book has had the biggest influence on your life?
Wow. That's a hard one because there's been a few. But for me at the moment, I think No Fear, No Death by Thich Nhat Hanh. And he's a Zen monk. And I go to his monastery every year to learn off monks and mindfulness with monks with my family. But that one, I think most people's fear, or my fear anyway, was death, is death, and their attitude towards it. But the way he talks is very easy to connect with, and it got rid of that fear for me. So I think that book would be the one for me at the moment.
Okay.
Definite.
Well, and what's it called again?
No Fear, No Death.
No Fear, No Death. Okay, I'll check that out. And final question. If you could go back and meet yourself as a teenager, what bit of advice would you give yourself, knowing you probably wouldn't listen?
What advice would I give myself? I think always look back on every 5 years. Always look back on yourself and how you are, and just be the conscious observer of yourself and your thoughts. You know, we all get hooked up in our thoughts and what's going on in our head and that narrative. But, you know, we have between 40,000 and 60,000 negative thoughts a day. And we always think that that's us. Those thoughts are us, but it's not. You know, we're the one listening. So that's what I'd say. But if I had to put it down to a quote, the one quote would be, don't always believe what you think. And that's always a good jog, you know, jogs me and reminds me. So that would be my advice to myself. Don't always believe what you think.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Thank you for coming and spending this time with us.
Pleasure.
Anyone watching in the group, thank you for watching. If you're watching this not in the group and you're watching it on YouTube, then get yourself on Facebook, get in the group, and you can be involved in these as they happen every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. UK time. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure.
Through the group. Remember, Thursdays are for knowledge. All right. Take care. Bye.